I figured since my channel is about the best of gaming that I won't be just sticking to upcoming games or new releases. I can go back in time and talk to you guys about forgotten games or games that could have been great. I've been thinking about making a video on this game for so long, but never took the step for it. So let's go back in time, specifically 2015, to talk about this open world survival game, which was the absolute rise of the genre at the time. We had DayZ, Rust Legacy, H1Z1, State of Decay, Ark Survival Evolved, and much more. The survival genre was rising at a crazy rate, and so many people loved it, myself included. I had never played any games before where you have to build yourself a home and survive in a harsh world, all of it with other online players. I loved it so much, and to this day it is still one of my favorite video game genre. Now in 2015, among all of these open world survival games, one stood up the most for me, not because it was better, but because it showed unlimited potential, and ultimately became one of the biggest failures in gaming. I'm talking about Reign of Kings. Alright guys, before we start, as always, make sure you give some support by dropping a like, and let's get started. Some people watching this video will definitely remember Reign of Kings. This is a game that, even though not graphically good, had a lot going for it, including siege battles, the fight to become king, and more. Now, first of all, Reign of Kings at its core was about the struggle to survive in a harsh medieval world. You could hunt wildlife, mine resources, build structures, and craft weapons and armor in order to protect yourself. You can also form a clan of yourself with friends or other players, and also bring war to all opposition and try to seize the throne and become king of this open world, which by becoming king you can then tax the other players, put the rules you want, and also punish those who try to end your reign. In addition to standard resources, you may compete over the ancient throne to become the new king, which resides in a throne room which overlooks the island. All players who are not part of the King's Guild are taxed on the resources they collect. The world itself was designed to inspire competition and struggles for power. Resource locations were all strategically spread throughout the game, which created a lot of iniquity and envy. Every player had the ability to make war or even capture, hold, or hang other players in order to get what they want. Each player had the power to decide the fate of the kingdom, or choose to entirely forego the responsibility of ruling the kingdom and roam the land as a freeman. Players had the ability to capture, hold, and execute other players. The player could also capture them with rope or iron shackles. Now, what was really cool about this game is the punishment and death system. Once the player had control of a captive, there were several options available for managing a prisoner. Options range from simply locking them in a cage or dungeon, having a public humiliation in the pillory, or simply executing them when you wanted. Once the players had built a strong and great looking house, the other players were not simply able to bash their way inside. The ranged option is to build all kinds of trebuchets and launch large stones that you've collected from afar and then throw at your opponent's castle. You could then go in and wage war. As you can hear and see, that all sounds really promising, and it was a promising game. Everything I mentioned was there from the beginning and worked well. This was once one of the best games I had ever played, period. It was giving survival fans a new twist on the genre. The block building of your house or other buildings was really well made, allowing players to upgrade their first structure and make it almost anything you'd like. The combat system, while not super great, was working well, and similar to games like Mordhau or Chivalry, and was also hilarious in a way and created really fun fights. The fact you could actually capture or simply torture someone and literally hang them in front of everyone is something I've never ever seen in other online survival games like these, and it was so fun. I'm sounding like a maniac, but I swear it was fun. All of that with a proximity voice chat added, and you were bound to make great memories in Reign of Kings. It had so much going for it, so why did it fail so hard and was completely abandoned? Well, this is a story as cliche as the others. The developers dropped the game and stopped coming out with new content. Though there is still a lot of games that get abandoned, but still get a steady player base for a while. But Reign of Kings quickly became filled with hackers. The perfect mix of a non-updated game with hackers coming in was what killed this really great game. Reign of Kings went from having 5,000 players online to 500 to 50 in a pretty small time frame. The developers working on this already had a pretty bad reputation with their game before, that's called Starforge, which was also abandoned by them. Like the game before, it was a grand game and had a concept that could have been heavily expanded upon if its creators took their time with it and not ran away and created another game. They released a new game this year called Heat, which is actually getting massive updates and isn't abandoned like Ring of Kings. If only they had done this for Ring of Kings itself. During the game's early access release, the player base was still super active. There weren't many complaints and overall the community was happy with the game. They had hoped the developers would continue on with the updates and bug fixes, even though it was certainly starting to slow down. It's like the people working on this gradually started to get less excited after every update, and you definitely saw it in how it was written. They lost their passion for Ring of Kings, and it has been since lost in the pile of early access survival games. Even though Ring of Kings is no more, there is still 100 people playing it every day. A lot of servers are empty, but there are still dedicated servers people play on. I played it a little bit before this video and automatically became friends with random players and we raided the King's base. Oh, and I also killed Jesus. If Ring of Kings was to ever come back from the dead, which it won't, or if a game similar to this releases someday, count me in to cover it on the channel as soon as we hear it. Alright guys, if you'd like to see more videos on forgotten games like these, make sure you drop a like on this video and of course subscribe to stay tuned. Thanks to Themistocles, Signo23 and Kian Zolfagari for being a master member on the channel. You can become a survivor member for 99 cents only. It'll help me and the channel as a whole to give you more and better videos.